cut of Sherlock is a version of the first episode where Mycroft isn't shoe.
Yeah.
And we're back. I know it's been a while since we've actually done an episode. hbomberguy. Again, my job is not to criticize based on just being insensitive or not liking your content, because again, you have decent content. My big issue with your content is
being shitty in his house for another 3 minutes. Ooh, there's a head in the fridge, how wacky. The actual start of the episode's fucking plot is at around 6 minutes 20 seconds when someone suddenly attacks the house out of nowhere with a bomb. Everything leading up to that is Sherlock being bored and smarmy and literally waiting around for the plot to come and get him. Now this characterization isn't utterly terrible. We do have a strong sense that Sherlock is a dick, but the problem with this is that in effect the entire show is bent towards providing characterization for Sherlock and making the story he's interacting with take a back seat until it becomes convenient. In the actual books and many of the adaptations, Sherlock Holmes was not the real focal point. The mystery...
I knew this was going to happen. I don't think there's anything I can say that's going to be new. I think I'm just going to be pretty much repeating myself from the first few episodes, but let's...
Please try again.
Like I mentioned before, the books aren't the actual series. It says at the very beginning of the show that this is based on Sherlock Holmes. The books are individual, separate, compared to the actual series. Of course, they're going to be focused on Sherlock. He's the main character. They're not going to just walk around and look at random characters or look at bosses or follow around Moriarty. The show's not called Moriarty. It's called Sherlock. Not called Watson. It's called Sherlock Holmes. I don't.
Sherlock looks at this scene and deduces, for example, the approximate height of the person who wrote the message based on where it had made sense for them to write the letters. Something no one else in the room thought to observe or consider, but something that you could absolutely arrive at yourself. This is a tangible piece of information that you yourself could apply to real life. Sherlock just taught you how to figure out how tall someone is based on how they would naturally write on a wall or the length of the stride of their footprints. This characterization is very strong because it gets across that Sherlock is smart, but also why he's smart, what he did to learn the things he learned, and got across the point of the scene, which is to demonstrate the use of his analytical techniques. For comparison, there's a scene in the first Sherlock episode, A Study in Pink, ooh, do you get it? How clever! Where Sherlock goes to a crime scene clearly based on the one from Scarlet. Rach here is written by the victim, and it actually turns out that she really is trying to write the name Rachel, because knowing German, I guess, is too much to expect of an audience. This isn't necessarily a bad change. What is a bad change is what information Sherlock learns and how he learns it. We're shown Sherlock inspecting the body and instead making the conclusion, based on the inside of a dirty wedding ring being clean, that the woman is a serial adulterer.
Nope, this part, totally agree with. One thing I really do hate about modern shows as well as detective shows or any show that's referenced to an actual comic or superhero related show is they always have to dumb everything down because they expect the audience not to be intelligent enough to understand it. I totally agree when it comes to that. I know for a lot of Sherlock-based TV shows, they always end up dumbing this show down because they figure the audience isn't going to be smart enough, or they want to make the show pretty much for everyone. The show isn't for everyone. Not every single show that's ever made is for everyone. Yeah, perfect example would be like Hero or even The Big Bang Theory. I mean, they just kept getting that wrong because they couldn't understand that it was made for a good audience, nerd audience, kinda.
It declined slightly, creating a slope between 1 and 5 degrees.
Well, eventually we had to fall off the boat. So, as you can see right here, he's pointing out Elementary. One thing I did want to bring up, because I did take the time to actually go back to watch Elementary for the first time. Not a huge fan. I mean, certain things about it, and again, I've only seen one episode. That just doesn't hook me, compel me into actually watching the show, and I can get to the fact of the main character, Sherlock, and Watson, or the female version of Watson, of course, really don't work out as far as a pairing group. It's just a weird awkwardness for a lot of it, but I can get into that. One thing I did want to bring up is with the first mystery that they ran into. As you probably already seen, and I'll re-show it right here.
1 and 5 degrees.
You'll see Sherlock noticing an incline in the floor. which he notices a trapdoor.
Now, you're welcome to go back and actually to watch Elementary to actually see exactly what the reason why I don't like this scene or it doesn't make sense. He walks into the room, notices there is an incline based on walking, went behind the dresser, pressed the button. There is no indication that the button was directly behind the dresser. That's my only issue with that scene. If you're going to show that scene, if by chance you're going to make it make sense, you can complain about Benedict Cumberbatch's scene don't make sense in some areas, then you have to be fair on both aspects. Elementary, you have to point out the things that they do very badly, and they do a lot based on just the one episode that I've seen. I'm not going to waste the time to actually go through and actually knock off every single thing, because again, it's not a horrible version of Sherlock, but it's not that great.
I'm not going to get into a tangent about that, but
No, thanks. No.
I feel like there's a better Sherlock Holmes versions of series that you can use as a comparison, even if you want to throw back in-house. But with Elementary, again, from the first episode that I've seen, it doesn't seem like a good version to actually go and actually to use as a comparison of a better version of Sherlock Holmes than this version with Benedict Cumberbatch. Hey, it's just me. Let's finish off the series here.
Now, this characterization isn't utterly terrible,